All right, Shabbos, say good morning. Today's daf is Tzadik Beis 92. We are picking up from Tzadik Aleph on the Beis. A lot to do today. 91b, and I believe we left off yesterday with Vayomar Shalchini Ki Allah HaShachar, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 8, 20. 20, might as well count from the top. Right, 20 lines up from the bottom. We'll say our shir this morning is dedicated by one of our devoted podcast listeners, Bobby and Lisi Lilienfeld, in celebration of the Pidyon Haben of their son, Yosef Dov, taking place this morning in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, young Yosef Dov will grow up to be an incredible Talmud Chacham, a Ben Torah, a source of nachas for his family, for his community, for Am Yisrael, and for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right, so with that, let's begin. Says the pasuk, "Vayomer Shalchini ki Allah HaShachar." So remember again, this is Yaakov fighting with the Malach. The Malach says to Yosef, "Let me go." To Yaakov. So let me go because the dawn has dawned. Amar lo. So Yaakov says to the Ish, he says, "Ganavato, kobiyustosato, shemisraim min hashachar." What are you, a thief? You're a bandit? That you're afraid of daybreak? Amar lo malachani. So the Ish says, "No, I am actually a malach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu." Umiyom shenevresi lo higiaz mani lomar shira ad achshav. And from the day that I was created, ultimately, again, I never had the opportunity to say shira until this day. So this is actually quite beautiful. This was the day after the fight with Yaakov Avinu that the Malach had the opportunity to say shira. So actually the Maharal has a beautiful arichos on this. He says, why is it that today ultimately again is the day that the Malach says shira out of all the days? So the Maharal goes with a more midrashic approach here, that the Ish actually was the Yetzer Hara, right? Malach of Esav, Yetzer Hara. The entire point of a Malach says shira when a Malach has accomplished something. That's when a Malach says shira. Accomplishes its mission, it says shira. We often think that the job or the mission of the Yetzer Hara, ultimately the mission of the Malach of Esav, is to crush us and defeat us. But in fact, it's not true. The angel of Esav, the Yetzer Hara, its job is to be an enabler of growth. When Yaakov Avinu struggles the entire night and remains standing the next day, the Malach didn't fail. The Malach, the Yetzer Hara, actually was successful. That's its job, to fight us, to resist us, to build up our tolerance, and to allow us to remain standing the next morning. After the Malach does that, ultimately, again, it's privileged to say shira. So we'll say this supports Rav Chananel Amarav. Rav Chananel Amarav. Shalosh kitos shamalachi asharis omros shira b'chol yom. There are 3 groups of angels of malachi asharis who say shira every single day. Achas omrim kadosh, omros kadosh, va'achas omros kadosh, va'achas omeres kadosh Hashem tzivakos. So we'll say each of the groups says something different. So first group says kadosh, second group says kadosh, third group says kadosh Hashem tzivakos. Meisvei, so is that true? Chaviv in Yisrael fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Malachi Asher. So listen to this beautiful Gemara. Kachal Yisrael is more beloved in the eyes of Hashem than the Malachim. Why? She Yisrael omim shira b'chol shah. Klal Yisrael, we say shira, or we can say shira every single hour, right? Every single hour. Umalachi Asharis ein omim shira elapam achas bayom. The Malachim only say shira once a day. V'amrila, and others say pam achas b'Shabbos, once, or we'll say once a Shabbos means once a week. V'amrila pam achas b'chodesh. Others say Malachim only say shira once a month. V'amrila pam achas b'shana. Others say once a year. V'amrila pam achas b'yovel. Others say only once a yovel, once every 70 years. V'amrila pam achas ba'olam. And others say only once in the entire, right? Once in an eternity, once in the span of the world. V'Yisrael maskirin es Hashem achar shtei tevos. And Klal Yisrael are unique. Why? Because I will say we only need a very small introduction before we recite the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shne'emar Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. All we need are those 2 words of introduction, Shema Yisrael, and then we are privileged to recite the divine name. O Malachi Asharis in Maskirin Hashem Elala Achar Gimel Tevos. But yet again, the Malachi Asharis are only able to recite HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name after the recitation of 3 words. Kidichsiv, Kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzivakos. So we'll say, so again, what do you see? So here the Gemara is saying that Lamaisa, again, human beings are superior to Malachim in a variety of different ways. One of those ways is the frequency with which we can say Shira. Another one of those ways is we only need 2 words of introduction before we can recite the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shema Yisrael, and then Hashem, whereas the Malachim need 3, Kadosh, 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 then Hashem Tzivakos. Now, both say, now that contradicts what we just said before, as we're going to see in just a moment. So the Gemara says, "Ve'ein malachi asharis omim shir lemala ad Shema Yisrael lemata." Furthermore, the Malachim cannot say Shira above until we say Shira on this earth. Shene'emar baran yachad kochvei boker. It is only ultimately again when the stars of the dawn are gathered. Those stars represent Klal Yisrael. And when Klal Yisrael is gathered to say Shira, v'hadar v'yariu kol b'nei Elokim. And then only afterwards do the b'nei Elokim, the Malachim, have the ability to say Shira. So we'll say, now the reason this is a kasha is because what did we just say before? We said earlier that the way it works with the Malachim is one group of Malachim say Kadosh, another group of Malachim say Kadosh, and a third group of Malachim say Kadosh Hashem Tzivakos. So we'll say if that's the case, then the Malachim in fact are able to say the Shem Hashem when? Even just after 1 word. Because remember that third group says Kadosh and then Hashem Tzivakos. Versus Klal Yisrael, which ultimately again could only say HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name after 2 words, Shema Yisrael. So in fact the Brisa, which seems to indicate the superiority to Klal Yisrael over the Malachim, seems to be just the opposite, to which the Gemara says it's not a kasha. The Gemara says, Ella achos omeres kadosh, va'achos omeres kadosh, 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 va'achos omeres kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzivakos. To which the Gemara says, no. The way it works is the 3 groups of Malachim. First one says Kadosh, second one says Kadosh, Kadosh, third one says Kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzivakos. So the Malachim again are only able to recite the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu after 3 words, versus Klal Yisrael could say it after 2 words. Ay v'ha'ika Baruch. But I will say, but there is the Baruch Kivod Hashem Mimkomo, where the Malachim are saying this again. They're saying the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu after 2 words. To which the Gemara says, top of Tzadik Beis, Rabbi side 92a, Baruch Ofanim Hu Amri. Ultimately, Rabbi say Baruch, that's the Ofanim. Rabbi say in the angelic world, there are different levels of Malachim. There are Malachim, there are Srafim, there are Ofanim. So I say Ofanim are considered to be a very high level of Malachim. They are able to say the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu after a shorter introduction. So already, again, after 2 words, Baruch Kivod, they're already able to say HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. The other possibility is, Kevan Disyav Rishusa Isyav. Well, see, the other possibility is that once Rishus, meaning once the Malach kind of begins to recite HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, after the recitation of a minimum of 3 words, that then after that, they could say HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name even with a lesser introduction, which makes sense. In other words, once they introduce their service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a minimum of 2 words, after that, or 3 words, after that, they can go ahead and what? After that, they can go ahead and speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a shortened form. Good. So the pasuk goes on. Vayashar el malach vayuchal bacha v'yischani lo. Supposed to listen to this. So this pasuk in Hosea, as we're going to see in just a moment, makes reference to the event between Yaakov and the Malach. So the Gemara says, "Vayashar Malach vayucha bacha v'yischan eni yodea min naasis sar lemi." So supposed to say the pasuk says Vayasar. Vayasar means Vayasar al Malach means he became a sar with the Malach, which means someone overcame someone. Someone mastered someone. Yaakov and the Ish. But I don't know who mastered who. Eni yodea min naasis sar lemi. Kishu omer ki sarisa im Elokim. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu later on says to Yaakov Avinu, because you have literally again sarisa, you have established yourself as a master with an angel. Havi Omer Yaakov Naaseh Sar Lemalach. Then I will say it became clear that what it was Yaakov who became over the angel. Bachova Yischanilo. He cried and he supplicated for mercy. Ini yodea mi bachalami. I don't know who cried to whom. Kishu omer shalchini. But yet when the pasuk says that the Ish says to Yaakov, Shalchini kala shachar, let me go, send me away, for the sun has come up. So the Gemara says, Havi Omer, Malach Bachali Yaakov. That means that the angel was crying to Yaakov, please let me go. Kisarisa imelokim v'imanashim, because you literally again have contended with angels and with men. Amar Rabba, so we'll say, so this is, remember again, this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Yaakov. Amar Rabba, so this is actually incredible. Remez Ramazlo. We'll say, this whole battle, this whole epic battle with this Sar Shel Esav, with this mysterious Ish, is an incredible metaphor on multiple levels for the story or the narrative of Klal Yisrael. The struggle with the Sar Shel Esav, the fact that Yaakov is injured but still standing in the morning. So the Gemara goes through some of these additional metaphorical aspects. Remez Ramazlo. Ultimately, again, he went ahead and he gave a remez. He gave a hint to Yaakov Avinu, a foreshadow. Sha'asidim shnei sarim lotzeis mimenu. That ultimately, again, there would be two great people who would come out from Yaakov Avinu. Who would be the two great people? Rosh Gola Shebebavel, the Nasi Sheberetz Yisrael. Then I will say for future generations, ultimately, again, the head of Babylonian Jewry, who we call the Reish Galusa, as well as the Nasi, right, who was the head of Eretz Yisrael Jewry, both would come from Yaakov Avinu. Mikan, so we say, of course, it makes sense. Of course, they both come from Yaakov Avinu, right? Why do they both come from Yaakov Avinu? Because Yaakov is the father of Klal Yisrael, right? He's the father of the Shvatim. But the idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was alluding to Yaakov Avinu, that greatness is going to come from you. Great people who are going to lead Klal Yisrael are going to come from you. So the Gemara says, Mikan Ramaz lo Galus. So first of all, over here also, HaKadosh Baruch Hu foreshadowed and hinted to the fact that we would be in exile. In other words, obviously, if there is a Reish Galusa, if there is a head of exiled Babylonian Jewry, that means what? There's Galus. So from here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Yaakov Avinu, your children are going to go into Galus. So the Gemara and Abosai quote something beautiful. So this is the pasuk from Tehillim. This is the pasuk from the end of Bereshis. This is the dream of Paro's butler. The dream of Paro's butler. Uba Gefen. So just to understand, so the dream is as follows. The dream was on the vine, there were three srigim, three like offshoots, right? Three offshoots, three srigim. V'hi parachas also. All of them were blossoming. Right? Hivshilu eshkelosa anavim, and the clusters developed into grapes. Now we're going to see that I will say that Isa. Remember, we often think of this dream in terms of its impact for the butler, right? And its dream for the impact of the butler is that the butler dreams that he's once again serving Paro wine, which again Yosef interpreted to mean that he's going to be spared from jail, he's going to be restored to his post. There's another metaphor in this. Watch this. So the Gemara says, "Ubegefen shlosha srigim amar Rabbi bar Abba amarav elu gimel sare geim hayotzim yisrael b'chol dar vadar." This refers to Bosai ultimately again to the three leaders who come out from Klal Yisrael in every generation. So what this means is in every generation there are three accepted leaders. There are more leaders than that, but there are three people who shepherd the generation. Sometimes again, two of them are here in Bavel and one is in Eretz Yisrael. And sometimes two are in Eretz Yisrael and one is here. So as I said, the idea is that there is always a split between the diaspora and Eretz Yisrael. Three people who shepherd the generation, and there's always a split. Sometimes the majority is in Bavel, the minority is here. Sometimes the majority is in Eretz Yisrael, the minority is here. But there is always this incredible split. Yahivu Rabbanan enai b'Ravna Ukva v'Rabna Nechemya b'nei Barte d'Rav. So during this conversation, the rabbis set their eyes on Ravna Ukva and Ravna Nechemya, who were the sons of the daughter of Rav, meaning feeling that these two men ultimately, again, were the embodiment or the embodiment of these individuals. So the Gemara goes weiter. The Gemara says, Rava Amar, Elu Shlosha Sarei Goyim, Shemalamdim Schos Al Yisrael. In fact, again, I both say, these three vines do not refer to future Jewish leaders, but rather who do they refer to? They refer ultimately, again, to three Gentile leaders. Unique Gentile leaders, ultimately, who are Melamed Zechus and Klal Yisrael. It's actually a beautiful, incredible idea that these represent three prominent world Gentile leaders who are friends of the Jewish people. They are Melamed Zechus and Eretz Yisrael, and in every generation, ultimately, again, you have three like that. B'chol dar v'dar. Ultimately, again, that arise in every generation. Tanya, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Gefen Zeha Olam. So I'll say ultimately again, Rabbi Eliezer has a different interpretation. He says Gefen, the vine that refers to the world. Shlosha Srigim, three like shoots. I don't know if that's the right word, but like three. What is it? Branches, good. But right, branches from the vine. Right, three offshoots, three branches from the vine. Ze Avram, Yitzchak, v'Yakov. That refers to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. V'hi parachas al sanitza, and it's blossoming. Ela ahimos. This refers also to the matriarchs. Hivshila eshkelosanavim. The grapes matured. The grapes blossomed on the vine. Elu hashvatim. This refers ultimately again to the Shadchan. So we'll say the power of this, by the way, is something absolutely amazing, which is that in this dream that Yosef is interpreting for the butler, not only is there the meaning vis-a-vis the butler himself, but Yosef is also seeing in front of his eyes a recap of Jewish history and a foreshadowing of Jewish destiny. All in a deep, dark Egyptian dungeon. All of this is occurring at once. Quite dramatic. Amar Rabbi Yoshua, v'chi maran lo la'adam mashe yihiyeh, v'halo ein maran lo la'adam ela mashe asiliyos. So what Rabbi Yoshua says, I don't understand. In general, I will say where there are prophetic visions are for the future, they're not for the past. Yet you're saying that when Yosef is interpreting this dream, in it, he sees the Avos and the Imos. So we'll say the Avos and Imos and the world is created already. Avos and Imos, again, we know about them already. So why would Yosef be seeing this prophetically? Therefore, Rabbi Yeshua reinterprets it. And he says, we'll say, first wide line, Tzadik Beis Medalef. Ella, Gefen Zutora. We'll say, it's actually quite beautiful. Rather, Gefen, the vine, that refers to Torah. Shlosha Srigim, three branches from the vine. Elu Moshe ve'Aaron and Miriam. That refers to Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. Vehi kiparachas al sanitza, and it's blossoming. What does that refer to? Sanhedrin. Hivshilu eshkeloseha anavim. The grape clusters form. Elu hatzadikim shebechol dar vadar. This refers to the righteous people of every generation. So both say what Yosef is seeing while he's interpreting ultimately this dream for Paro is he's seeing the future of Klal Yisrael. So we'll say which gives him, one must imagine, hoping that he realized what he was seeing, but gives him the ultimate optimism about the future. He recognizes that as difficult and as terrible as things may be right now, that in Yirtzeh Hashem, he has an incredible future ahead of him. Amar Rabbi Gamliel says, Adayin tzarech anu lemodi. Ultimately, and we still need the Modi'i, right? We still need the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer Modi'i. Demokim le lekule bechad makom. Because Rabbi Eliezer Modi'i interprets all of these in a more comprehensive way. How so? Rabbi Eliezer HaModi'i Omer, Gefen ze Yerushalayim. This is so beautiful. He says the Gefen, the vine, that refers to Yerushalayim. Shlosha Srigim, which I will say, if you think about it, by the way, Yerushalayim is like the nerve center of Klal Yisrael. It's the vine. Everything grows off the vine. So ultimately, Yerushalayim is the vine. Shlosha Srigim, there are three branches from the vine. Zem Mikdash, Melech, the Kohen Gadol. We'll say this refers ultimately to the three religious fixtures of Klal Yisrael, the Beis HaMikdash, the Melech, and the Kohen Gadol. V'iki parachas al sanitza, and it's blossoming. Elu pirchei kuna. We'll say this refers to the young Kohanim. Hivshilu eshkelosel, the clusters ripen, anavim into grapes. Elu nesachim. This refers ultimately again to the libations. So we'll say in this model, what Yosef is actually seeing is something actually quite interesting, which is the centrality of avoda in Klal Yisrael's existence. So you see again, this interpretation is very Beis HaMikdash centric, right? You have the Kohen Gadol, you have the libations, you have the Beis HaMikdash. So as I saw, ultimately again, the role of avoda And even in the absence of the Beis Hamikdash, that avoda pillar, as we know from Pirkei Avos, is still, again, it's transition. It's no longer avoda of the Beis Hamikdash, not yet avoda of the Beis Hamikdash. Right now it's the avoda of tefillah. Now it's the avoda of hasmada, but it's that avoda, it's that avoda pillar, which still holds up the world. Incredible. So the Gemara goes weiter. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi mokimla b'matanos. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi establishes it as the matanos. What does this mean? Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, Gefen Zutora. He says, Gefen, the vine. We'll say, what's the vine? Remember again, the vine always represents the life force of everything which grows from it. So what's the vine? The vine is Torah. The vine is Torah. Shlosha srigim. Both say there are three branches which come off it. Zeh, be'er, amud anan, uman. So we'll say ultimately again, what are the three branches? The be'er, which is the well of Miriam. The amud anan, the cloud of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which accompanied them. And man. And ultimately, again, the man, which fell from Shai. So we'll say, what you see over here in this model is the Gefen, I will say, the Torah is what supports everything. The Torah is what allows everything else to come off. Remember, again, you have water, protection, food. Water, protection, and food. Man, be'er, amud anan, all come from the vine of Torah. V'hike parachas al sanitza, and ultimately, again, it's blossoming. What does that refer to? Elu habikurim. We'll say this refers to bikurim. Again, quite beautiful. The idea is, and what do you do with the brachos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you? You give them back to Him. You utilize them in His service. That's what bikurim represents. Hivshilu eshkelo anavim. The grape clusters mature. Elu nisachim. We'll say this refers to the wine libations, again, going back to the motif of avoda. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba Omer, Gefen Eli Yisrael. What's another interpretation? He says the vine, that's Klal Yisrael. V'chein hu Omer Gefen Mitzrayim Tasiyah. Shlosha Serigim. What are the three branches? Elu Shlosha Regalim Sheisrael Olin Bahen B'chol Shana V'Shana. Ultimately, again, this refers to the three regalim, pilgrimage festivals that Klal Yisrael comes up 3 times a year. V'hike parachas al sanitza, and ultimately, again, what happens? It's like blossoming. So higia zmanan shel Yisrael lifros v'lirba. So most of this is actually very interesting. So in this interpretation, what you have is almost like a mix, a chronological mix over here. Because on one hand, the first part of the pasuk is going to refer, ultimately, again, the Gefen is Klal Yisrael, right? The 3 branches are the 3 regalim. It's blossoming, Rabbi say. That refers to the idea that Klal Yisrael is going to go ahead and be fruitful and multiply. Fruitful and multiply where? This is a reference to Vayishratzu Vayirbu in Mitzrayim. In Mitzrayim, right? V'chinu Omer u'bnei Yisrael paru v'yishritzu. All sanitza, right? It begins to blossom. Higia zmanon she'Yisrael ligal. That refers to the fact that there'll come a point in time where Klal Yisrael will be ready to be redeemed from Egypt. V'chinu Omer v'yaz nitzcham al bigdai. V'chal abusha galti hefshilu ashkelosah. Ultimately, again, its clusters became ripe. Higia zmana shel Mitzrayim lishtos kos hatar elah. It will be time for Mitzrayim to drink the cup. Tar'ila Rabosai means divine anger, right? Kas, divine wrath. So ultimately, again, there'll come a time where Egypt, again, will drink from the cup of divine wrath, which Rabosai is the way of saying what? That Egypt will be punished. So I'll say, so again, I just want to point out the interesting part about that last drasha is just almost like the chronological back and forth. That on one hand, the first part of the pasuk is referring to Klal Yisrael, second part of the pasuk is referring to the regalim in the future, and then the last parts of the pasuk are referring to Klal Yisrael's incredible proliferation, Egyptian servitude, punishment of the Egyptians, ultimately redemption of the Jewish people. And both say this is what Rabbi says. V'hainu do amarava shlosha kosos ha'amuros b'Mitzrayim lama. I will say, why is it that there are 3 cups mentioned in Egypt? And I will say, the 3 cups that the Gemara is making reference to are the 3 cups in the butler's dream, right? So why does it say kos, right? Why does it mention kos 3 times? Oh, I'll tell you, we'll say it refers to the 3 different cups. What 3 different cups? Echad. So we'll say one of them refers to the cup of divine wrath that Klal Yisrael drank during the days of Moshe. This refers to when the Egyptians were punished. And I will say the other one was written when Paro Necho, who was defeated by Sancheriv. That was another defeat of the Egyptians. Ve'echad sha'asida lishtos im kol ha'ovdei kochavim. And the third cup of divine wrath. So we'll say the first cup of divine wrath is when the Egyptians were defeated by the Jews. Second cup of divine wrath is when the Egyptians are defeated by the Assyrians. Third cup of divine wrath is when Mitzrayim will be punished together with the other nations when Mashiach comes, for their affliction of the Jewish people. Amar Rabbi Abba Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, ki darish lehu l'rav lahani krai ba'agarto kavasech darish lu. So we'll say, Rabbi Amma says to Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, when Rav would darshan these psukim, or as when he was giving a homiletic shir, right, an agarata shir. Amar Rabbi Shimon Lakish, umazu kegefen nimshala. This nation is like a vine, like a grapevine. So Zemuros, we'll say, actually, this is an incredible Gemara. So meaning, according to this interpretation, as you're going to see, the entire imagery of the dream, the vine and everything else, is a reference to Klal Yisrael, and specifically the different parts of Klal Yisrael. So Zemura, Sheba, so we'll say, so Zemuros, the actual vines, Elu Balabatim. Well, this is actually incredible. These are the Baalei Batim, right? What does that mean? Look at Rashi. It's Rashi right across in the short lines from the second to last short line. Zemuros Sheba Elu Baalei Batim. Dima Hazmur Ahazu Motzia Lulavim Va'alim Upri Vu Ikra Gavin. Because it will say, just like the vine, as we said before, everything comes from the vine, right? The branches come from the vine and the grapes come from the branches. Without the vine, you have nothing. So to kach balabatim, gom lechased, umachzikim yideaniyim, umefazrim mamonam lamalchus, b'shvil achayim, umiskayim ayadam. So we'll say, so this is actually amazing. This, by the way, it's a very dramatic Gemara. So Rish Lakish is saying, we'll say, who is the vine of Klal Yisrael? This is actually amazing. The vine of Klal Yisrael are the balabatim. Right, the other vine of Klal Yisrael, I will say, for one simple reason: nothing gets off the ground without money. Nothing gets off the ground without money. And at the end of the day, let's be honest, it's not the Talmidei Chacham who are producing the money, right? It's not the Rabbanim who are producing the money. It's the Balabatim who are producing. It's an incredible thing. And this is just in life as a general. It's an incredible idea because often we have this little bit of skewed view that, if you can't be, an accomplished Talmid Chacham, you could always be a balabas. Like, it's a fantastic runner-up prize. I say, it's pashut not true. Klal Yisrael exists because of the vine. The vine is the balabatim. Now, both say, just because a person is a balabas doesn't mean you have a patur from becoming a Talmid Chacham. You have to be a balabas who is a Talmid Chacham. Right? Those are not mutually exclusive states of being. But I hope you feel like it's an incredibly like affirming Gemara, which is the vine of Klal Yisrael. The job of the balabas, the job of the balabat of Klal Yisrael, is to support and to facilitate the growth of all of the shoots. Everything comes from, and we'll say, if you look at Rashi's examples are quite amazing, right? Ultimately, again, they're gom lechesed. They have to fuel financially, not with their tila, right? They have to fuel financially the engines of chesed. Machzikim edeaniyim, they help out the poor. Mefazrim amonim lamalchus, which I will say, now this means something a little bit different. Hazam lamalchus means they have to pay off the government. Now, obviously, this is coming, of course, in a different kind of context, right? This is coming again, and if you look at the rest of that Rashi, it says b'shvil achayim, meaning, we'll say, what is Rashi referring to over here? When they see that someone else is in tax trouble, right, or someone else is in governmental trouble, they need to step in. But I will say, it's an incredible, fundamental communal model. Balabatim build community, right? Balabatim build foundations. Balabatim lay the groundwork, and then others could help build additional levels of the edifice, but without the Balabatim setting the foundation, nothing gets off the ground. They are the vine. Say the Balabatim, Eshkolo Sheba, who are the grapes? Who are the clusters of grapes? Elu Talmidei Chachamim. Those are Talmidei Chacham. So we'll say, so the fruits, so the Balabatim build the foundation. Once you build the foundation, once you have the vine, then the vine can produce the fruit of Talmidei Chachamim. Alin Shah will say, watch this. What about the leaves? Who are the leaves? Elu Amei Haaretz. Rabbi will say, this refers to the Amei Haaretz. This refers to the ignorant masses. We'll see what that means in just a moment. Actually, we'll see it right now. Look at Rashi. Olin shebegefen sovlin aruach umaginim ala eshkolos shelo yakim shra v'shemesh v'ruchos kach ame aretz chorshin v'zorin v'kotim mashlamiyacham ochlim. So let's listen to this. What does the leaf do? The leaf often protects the grape. So often, what the Ama Aretz, when we say Ama Aretz, who are we talking about over here? Well, in this model, it's like the laborers, the people who till the soil, who work the field. That's not the Balabatim, right? The Balabatim, you have a guy for that, right? But ultimately, again, the Ama Aretz are the ones ultimately who are tilling the field. Now, both say, so they're the leaf. They're the leaf. They protect the grape. They do the stuff so that the Talmid Chacham doesn't have to do those things, so that the Talmid Chacham ultimately, again, can devote himself to Torah and to the needs of the klal. So it's amazing. So you see, everybody has their place. So Eila Amaris, Kinu Kanos, so we'll say, Kinu Kanos Shema, this literally refers, the literal definition of this is like the small little tendrils that come off the vine. Elu Rekanum Shabisa. So we'll say, what do the tendrils do? What do the tendrils do on the vine? Kind of nothing. Right? Kind of nothing. They don't seem to serve. Rashi says, the lochazu lemidi. They might look nice, it might be okay, but they don't actually serve a purpose on the plant. And therefore, Both say this is what they sent from Rachel. They said the following: Liboy rachamim atichla a'alya. Both listen to this. The clusters should always daven for the leaves. Right? The ilmali alya lo metakmin atichla. We'll say the clusters should always daven for the leaves, because without the leaves, the clusters would wither up. So what does that mean? The Talmidei Chachamim should always daven for the Amei Haaretz, because the Amei Haaretz are the leaves which protect the cluster. The Amei Haaretz ultimately are the ones who do the work, so as to be able to provide for the basic needs of the Talmid Chacham. So I find this drasha is exceptionally striking, because what it's ultimately saying is everyone has a piece. Everyone has a part. The Balabatim are the vine, the Talmidei Chachamim are the grapes, the Amei Haaretz ultimately again are the leaves, and everyone has their unique, important, and really indispensable role in the actualization and formation of Klal Yisrael. So the Gemara goes weiter. Va'achar li b'chamisha asar kesef. We'll say, so the pasuk, Gemara quotes the pasuk from Hosea. Ve'akar li b'chamisha asar kesef literally means I bought it, right, with 15 pieces of silver. So we'll say, so what does this mean? So we'll say, so this pasuk is actually a metaphor for HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying, I acquired Klal Yisrael with 15. They will say with 15 is actually a reference to the 15th of Nisan, which is what? Which is Pesach. So listen to this. Amr Rabbi Yochanan Shmuel B'Shim Ben Yosadek. Ein kira lashon mechira. The lashon of kira says lashon of purchase. Shnei Emar b'kavi asher karisali b'chamisha asar. So what does it mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu acquired us with 15. Zeh b'tes zayin tes vav b'Nisan. We'll say this refers to the 15th of Nisan. Shebo nigalu Yisrael mitzrayim. It was on that day that we were redeemed from Egypt. Kasef, we'll say, what does silver refer to? Elut tzadikim. This refers ultimately again to the righteous. V'cheinu omer, tzaror ha-kesef lakach biyado, chomer so'orim, v'lesech so'orim. When the pasuk says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that he bought us with a chomer of so'orim and a lesech. Well, now watch this. A chomer is 30 sa'ah. A lesech is 15 sa'ah. The Gemara understands this to mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu acquired us on the 15th, put this all together, HaKadosh Baruch Hu acquired us on the 15th of Nisan, right? Acquired us ultimately again for silver, tzadikim. And how many tzadikim are there which sustain the existence of Klal Yisrael? 45. 45 tzadikim, who will say, not to be confused with the Lamed Vav tzadikim who uphold the world. Different shir. Right? This is the 45 tzaddikim within Klal Yisrael in whose merit sustains Klal Yisrael. Elu memei tzaddikim shalom iskaimem. These are the 45 tzaddikim ultimately again who sustain the world in its entirety. Ve'ini yodea. Now watch this. Now the fact that the pasuk divides it up 30-15 tells me that what? That not all 45 are concentrated in the same place. Now, I don't know if that means that 30 of them are here in Eretz Yisrael and 15 are in Babel, or vice versa. But I will say, then when the pasuk says that I took the 30 pieces of silver and I cast them into the house of God, into the treasury, The house of Hashem tells me that it's Eretz Yisrael. Havi Omer, Shloshem Eretz Yisrael, V'tes Vav Kan. Rabbi say, what does that teach me? That teaches me that 30 of these tzaddikim always reside in Eretz Yisrael, and 15 of them reside in Bavel. Amar Abaye says, Rabbi says, it's actually incredible. V'rubayu mishtachi b'beiknishta d'tusi afsa. And Rabbi say, you could find them, the majority of them, in the Rabbi say, tusi afsa literally means the shul that's built partially underground, which I will say means it's not an actual place. What it's saying is the 30 people that you have in Eretz Yisrael that you're looking for, they're never going to be who you think they are. They're not the high-profile people that everyone knows about. Often these 30 tzaddikim in Eretz Yisrael and the 15 in the diaspora are often unknown, humble, unassuming people who don't sit up front, whose name is not in lights, but yet again, whose incredible merit sustains Klal Yisrael. Im tov be'einechem havu sichri ve'im lo chadlu ve'yishkul eschari shloshim kasef. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, elu shloshim tzadikei umos ha'olam. Rabbi Yehuda says that it actually refers to something else. It refers to the 30 tzaddikim within the Gentile nations. And as a result of them, so the Gentile nations also have their tzaddikim. They also have their righteous Gentiles, and they exist, meaning they sustain the Gentile nations. Ula Amar, Elu Shloshim Mitzvos. I suppose it's actually incredible. Ula refers to something else. It's the 30 mitzvos. Shekiblu alein b'nei Noach. Both say it's the 30 mitzvos that Bnei Noach accepted upon themselves. Now, both say, I'll show you something amazing. Look at the last Rashi on the daf. Shloshim mitzvos lo nisparshu umehachu dikayalef. Rashi says, I do not know, right? It's not clear to me what are the 30, we know about 7 mitzvos, but what are the 30 mitzvos that Bnei Noach took upon themselves? Ve'ein mekaymin ela shlosha. Both say this Gemara is going to blow you away. And even though Bnei Noach only took upon themselves 30, they only uphold 3. Rabbi say, what are the 3 they uphold? Watch this. Shein kosvin ksuva lizecharim. Rabbi say, this is wild, right? They do not condone homosexual marriage. And I will say, now, what does that mean? Take a look at Rashi. There's plenty of homosexual activity, right? That's plenty, right? But I will say, watch this. So we'll say, so to be clear, they will engage. They have no standards of, meaning they'll do whatever they feel they want to do. But watch this. So it's amazing. The one thing they will not do is they will not institutionalize immoral practices. So Rabbi say this is an incredible, incredible idea. You see, Rabbi say, what the Gemara is saying over here is like this: we all have our imperfections, right? And we all have our weaknesses, and we all experience our lapses in morality. But what we do as private citizens is very different than what we allow to occur in greater society. Because what occurs in great, say what I do as an individual, that I have cheshbon for that with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That I have to answer for all of my actions. And I know that sometimes I do things that are not right. I'm not justifying it. I have to stand judgment. That's different than saying that something should be permitted for society. Because when you institutionalize something for society, you bring down the morality of a society as a whole when you introduce and create brand new norms. So we'll say this. So first of all, it's also incredible because what it tells you is we think that like we have new issues. We don't have any new issues. Right? Shlomo says, "Ein chadash tachas hashemesh." The challenges of people are the challenges of people. It's all the same as it was thousands of years ago, as it is today. So Bnei Noach, Rabbi say, let's be clear. People, we all do immoral things at different times. But Bnei Noach, at least we're conscious enough to say, we're not going to institutionalize and societalize, if that's the right word, it's just not, right? Our immorality. In Kosin Ksuva L'Scharim, V'achashin Shoklim Basra Meis. So this is actually very interesting. Cannibalism. Cannibalism was another one of those things that we just don't do that, right? In other words, that again, even something like that, which was just considered to be so depraved that they wouldn't do that. Rashi has a Rashi Basra Meis Shal Adam. So I'm sorry, Ve'in Sholim Basra Meis B'Makulin. They would never sell human flesh in the marketplace. So we'll say again, I want to be clear. It doesn't mean people didn't eat human flesh. right? But what we're talking about over here is something amazing. It's saying that Bnei Noach were conscious enough to understand that even if you have certain lapses on a personal level, you cannot institutionalize and normalize those lapses. You're both saying, what's happening over here is as follows. What often happens is everyone wants to be a tzaddik. Really, we all want to be righteous. So when I do something wrong, there are two ways I could approach that behavior. I could say, it's wrong, and I accept that I'm a frail human being. I know what's right, I know what's wrong, I need to do tshuva. Or I could justify my wrong by creating a new standard. I move the goalpost. So suddenly I'm not wrong, it's just different. There's a new reality. So the Gemara is saying, to umos ha'olam, they had their own immoral practices. The one thing they never did was move the goalpost and institutionalize things that they understood to be wrong. And I both say, that's an incredible milah. To be self-aware enough to say, okay, I do what I do. It's not good. I'm not going to pretend like it's okay. I'm not going to pretend like it's kasher v'yashar. I'm not going to move the goalpost so as to justify my own agenda, ideas, or anything else. I do what I do in the privacy of my life. But society always has to be held to a higher ramah, right? Society always has to be held to a higher level. That was the goodness of the Umos HaOlam. And lastly, and this is actually amazing, va'achas shemechab b'nes haTorah. And I must say, ultimately, again, and the last one is that they were mechabed the Torah. I will say, I just want to mention something about this. You know, the in kosvin ksuva l'schan, I will say, this is not the time for this, but, you know, again, I will say that there are many within our community who struggle with the issues of finding a place, especially in the Jewish community, if a person is gay, and we have to have incredible sensitivities to issues like this, incredible sensitivities. So just understand that this is not a statement about people who are gay. This is about a statement about institutionalizing and normalizing unions which are kilo kiderech hateva. We have to be very careful in the way we approach these issues, because again, we have to be sensitive and accepting of every single Jew wherever they are. There's not one person here who doesn't have the issues that they struggle with. So we all struggle with different things. So I want to just be clear, the Gemara here is not making a statement about a person who struggles with these issues. That's not what the Gemara is making. The Gemara is talking about, though, a society has to hold itself to a certain level. Because if society doesn't hold itself to a certain level, then the moral fabric of society fundamentally unravels. People will do what people are going to do, and that is their personal decision. I have to respect, I have no right to judge any person's personal decision or personal lifestyle. That's their decision. But as a society, we have to figure out what we need to do in order to maintain some level of moral cohesion. Because if everything becomes okay, if there's moral equivalency, if everything is just fine, it's just alternate, then you're left with nothing. Then there's no moral fabric. Then there's no foundation. Then there's no longer any right and any wrong. Everything just becomes this incredible gray area of moral relativity. That's what Chazal are saying over here. Okay, so let's go weiter. Back to Giran Noshe. Giran Noshe now becomes a little bit easier. So I'll say, here we go. So I'll say, remember again. I know it's a little bit of like roller coaster here. Look, everybody's leaving now. What did I say? It's still good. I promise. So the Gemara is like this. So we'll say, remember again, the Mishnah said that Giran Noshe doesn't apply to a bird. Right, doesn't apply to a bird. Why not? So we'll say, so the Gemara said because the bird doesn't have like that spoon-shaped flesh around its top, around by the hip. So but it does. So the Gemara says, Islay v'lo agil. It has the flesh by the gid, but it's not rounded as the way it is in a behemo. So by Rabbi Yirmiyah said, Islay la'of va'agil. So we'll say ultimately again, if the bird has it but it's rounded, Islay le'behema v'lo agil. Or if the behema has it but it's not rounded, mai. So we'll say what's the halacha? Basar didei azlinan o basar minei azlinan. So we'll say do we go ahead and do we go after basar didei? Do we go after the actual animal or do we go after the actual species? To which the Gemara says teku. That's Eliyahu, we'll have to answer that. V'noig b'shal. So we'll say furthermore again, the Mishnah says the prohibition of Gid Hanosha applies to the fetus. Amr Shmuel v'chelbo mutter. So we'll say, so remember, l'divrei hakol. So I'm sorry. Amr Shmuel v'chelbo mutter, l'divrei hakol. Shmuel said, I will say that again. Remember, the Mishnah said, and its chaylev is mutter. That statement, the Gemara suggests, was made according to everyone. Remember again, there's machlokas, Rabbana and Rabbi Yehuda as to whether or not Gid Hanosha applies to a shalil, to a fetus. But apparently when the Mishnah said that the chaylev is mutter, everyone agrees with that statement. Chelbo demai. So we'll say, whose chaylev are we talking about? Ilema the shalil, if you want to say that it's the chaylev of the fetus, v'hamiflag palig bay, but that itself is subject to machlokes, the sanya noig b'shalil, the chelbo also, div Rabbi Meir. Gid Hanosha applies to a shalil, and its chaylev is aser. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Eino Noig B'Shal B'Chelba Mutter. Rabbi Yehuda says that Gid Hanosha does not apply to a fetus, and furthermore, again, what? Its chaylev is mutter. V'Amar Rabbi Elazar Amar Rabbi Oshia Machlokes B'Ben Tisha Chai V'Halach. So we'll say the machlokes is when you go ahead and you shech the mother, you open it up and you find a 9-month-old, fully developed, living fetus. Rabbi Meir L'Shitaso. So Rabbi Meir goes according to his reasoning. Rabbi Meir holds that halacha l'maisa. Rabbi Meir, remember, doesn't subscribe to ben pakua, and therefore Rabbi Meir holds that when you shech the mother, you open it up and you find a fully viable living fetus in there. What's the halacha? The halacha is it requires its own shchita. If it requires its own shchita, then that makes sense. Rabbi Meir says that what? That fetus, that animal, is subject to Gid Hanosha and to the prohibition of chaylev. Rabbi Yehuda l'shitasa, and Rabbi Yehuda goes according to his shita, because what does Rabbi Yehuda say? He holds a ben pakua. He holds that the uber is niter b'shchitas imo, and therefore what? Halacha l'maisa. He holds that it is not subject to Gid Hanosha and to chaylev. The ela chelbo de gid. Rather, again, the Gemara says we're talking about the chaylev of the Gid Hanosha. Also, remember again, in the anatomy of the Gid, there is a fat that surrounds the area of the Gid. So the Gemara says ham miflag pligiba, but that's also machlokes. We'll also just do another few lines. This sanya, because we learned Gid Hanosha mechatet achara b'chomakom shu. Gid Hanosha, we'll say it's not just enough to remove the Gid, but rather, what do you have to do? Literally, you have to dig in after it, which means what we'll say you have to dig out the fat around it as well. The chotech shmano meikadar mer. Mer holds that you have to cut out the fat around the Gid as well. Rabbi Yehuda Omer says no, gomemo im hashofi. Rabbi Yehuda says all you need to do is level out the fat. You need to take out the Gid and a very small layer of the fat around the Gid. You level out the rest of the fat and you're good to go. So the Gemara says the olam chelbo the Gid. In reality, we're talking about the chaylev that's around the Gid. Umo de Shmuel de Rabbi Meir midrabanan aser. And Shmuel agrees that according to Rabbi Meir, that fat around the Gid, mid'oraisa is mutter, but midrabanan will be aser. Where do we know? From the Sanya, ushmana mutter, right? Really, again, the fat around the Gid is mutter. The Yisrael Kiddoshim nagu bo iser. And ultimately, Klal Yisrael, who are so kaddish, decided an extra chumrah that ultimately the fat around the Gid should be aser. My love, Rabbi Meir, it's not Rabbi Meir who says, Damar mutter min haTorah v'aser min dirabanan. Therefore, again, it's not reflect the view of Rabbi Meir who holds that the fat is mutter midaraisa, aser min dirabanan. Mimai, how do you know? Dilon Rabbi Yehuda aval Rabbi Meir midaraisa nami aser. Maybe it's Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir actually holds that the fat is aser midaraisa. Lo sagadaitcha desanya Gid Hanosha mechatet achara b'chomakom shehu ushmano mutter. We'll say, what does the Raisa say? Gid Hanosha, you go ahead and you literally, we'll say mechatet achara means you remove the Gid and the surrounding area, but the rest of the fat is mutter. Man shamislei the islei chatita. We'll say, who is the opinion who holds that all you need to do is just kind of poke around the Gid, right, and carve out the immediate fat surrounding the Gid, but not the rest of it? Rabbi Meir. So Meir v'ka'amar shmana mutter. So we'll say from here you see that Rabbi Meir holds that halacha l'maisa, the fat around the Gid is really mutter midrabana, mutter midoraisa, and aser midrabanan, because Klal Yisrael went ahead and observed an additional chumrah. So we'll stop over here. We'll pick up with Rabbi Yitzchak and Meretz Hashem tomorrow.